Marketers have a strong ability to smell inauthenticity, but today's teardown features a page so authentic and so helpful that I actually bought a subscription off the back of it. Now, once again, I'm joined by Basu, who's the founder of Powered by Search, as we review competitor comparison pages. And today we're looking at Clearscope alternative, Dashword. Are you ready? Let's go! All right, so today we're looking at this Dashword alternatives page. So it's Clearscope alternatives. I was sent this by Amanda Natividad from Growth Machine when I was looking for a tool, and I actually bought Dashword off the back of it because I was so impressed. I just thought this page is the kind of page that I personally want to write about my industry. And if they're using their tool to do this, then that's what I want. That's what I want my content to come out as. So I'm going to buy that thing. It's really different from the other competitor pages that we've looked at because there is literally no design on it at all. So we looked at the harvest versus the harvest page, and that one is like pretty much no design. But this one, just text. How many of these kinds of things are you seeing? Like, what's the distribution, would you think?
This is less common. I'd say this is the 20% of comparison pages, and the 80% look kind of pretty and have a table and call it a day. But personally, I prefer this a lot more because it's got an editorial element to it and has, I think it creates the same type of trust that someone might have in perhaps reading a blog post, for example. This is just a page rather than a post. The other thing that's kind of interesting, the way that they've done it is, being a company that understands search intent, they realize through looking at the Google results for tool alternatives that people are not looking for one tool. They're actually looking for comparisons of multiple different tools. That's why they created this kind of list style post almost, which gives, I would imagine that this post would get people who are coming to it to spend quite a bit of time on the page just because they're going through multiple types of tools. And it would have very similar consumption patterns as to a long-form blog post.
Yeah, it's definitely that. It's made for search. It's made for the searcher as well. And the reason that I say it's made for the searcher is because while they obviously put themselves at the top of this which I think everyone would do that. Everyone who's thought it through a bit should do that. They also actually do some really honest comparisons of competitor tools. So when I was evaluating these tools, I thought about Dashword, I thought about Market Muse, and I thought about Surfer, as well as Clearscope. And this really showed me the differences between them. And it did so in a way that I didn't feel like they were trying to lie to me and trying to kind of make me buy their tool now that I was on their website. I've got a theory. I've got no data to back this up, but I've got a theory that those pages that actually kind of sugarcoat the feature set when comparing to a competitor actually end up with lower value customers over time because the churn is due to bitterness, and the referrals are also affected by that.
I think you're spot on about that. What I'd add to that is this is a marketing technology tool, so they're marketing to savvy marketers themselves. And I think that if I could say this, the bullshit radar is high for marketers, right? So they really do value the matter of factness that they can approach the content with, as opposed to some level of pizzazz, right? So generally, there's an inverse correlation between how savvy you are on a topic and how much you like just things being shared in plain language, versus if you're very new. I think the pizzazz can sell, and that's what attracts those lower quality customers.
Yeah, definitely true. And just scrolling back up here, so when they actually talk about themselves, I think it's really nice that they focus not necessarily on the price, which is clearly the value proposition that most people are coming to Dashword for versus Clearscope. You know, they identify it right here. Its steep price point might make you consider other SEO software. Okay, yeah, I'm doing that, so I'll read this thing. Also, they've referred to themselves in the first person. So the guy who wrote this, I had a conversation with him briefly, and yeah, it's just a small company, and they're trying their hardest to make it work. I love that. But he said, yeah, I did the research, so it's not like we did it. It's I, and I think that has an impact because you start to think, okay, this guy, I think his name is Thomas. Um, he actually went out and tested them all. And
Yeah.
here's what he found, and clearly knows something about it because he's made his own tool.
It's interesting because it's subjective opinion, but the honesty of it almost makes the comparison seem more objective than not.
Right, yeah. Yeah, definitely. The cool thing is here, so with even with all that kind of laid back approach to comparison, he's still put in this kind of, hey, guys, I still want you to buy my tool. Like it's right here. And this is actually the value proposition that most people will be searching for. They want to know the feature set is there, but they ultimately want to know, can I afford that feature set? Because I already know Clearscope's got every feature I actually want, but I can't afford it.
Yeah.
I think that's super smart. The other thing I was going to pick up on here, I'm not sure if you noticed this when you looked at it, is he's actually linked out to sample reports from all of the other sites. I think that's a big move because it just gives someone an opportunity to go, which I did with Phrase. I actually loaded this up and I thought, man, this is pretty good report. I want to see these things. And WordStream doesn't actually have Dashword, sorry, doesn't actually have this functionality as far as I can see. It's actually a really good report that they do. And so I think it's so brave to have said, okay, if this is what you're looking for, then maybe that's the tool for you.
Yeah. This it reminds me of the early days of Powered by Search. We used to pay for Moz, and I think Moz was like $79 per month at that point in time. It became more expensive over time, but we liked doing it because they were the best content, but still the little guy in the industry at that point in time. So there's something to be said about that, which is just the underdog who's so honest and talks about what they're doing and how they're doing it and who the competition is and what they don't have as well. There's like just this page oozes that honesty for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely true. There's not a huge amount more to say about this because it is just copy. But the copy is so in depth, and I just you get to the bottom and you think, well, there's no call to action here, because you've scrolled past it. I would bet by the point where you get to those top three, because those are the three names that most people would associate with this, I think you probably have made a choice to give it a go. And at that point, it's down to pipeline marketing and the funnel to take over, isn't it?
Well, the one thing that I would have maybe added to this at the bottom would have been some sort of conclusion statement, keeping in mind that not everybody's going to go through and read every single one of these. They may skim through and only look at the ones that they already know of. But just having some sort of conclusion statement would be useful, I think. They borrowed the idea of putting their kind of tool first. If I were to guess, that would be from, if you remember all these hosting review websites, which are like best WordPress website hosts, like Bluehost or whatever would put themselves up right at the top. In fact, they owned a lot of those affiliate websites actually, so that they could talk about themselves in kind of the second or third person. But a conclusion statement would be useful for if you're this kind of marketer,
Right.
use A, B, or C. If you're that kind of marketer, use X, Y, or Z. And that could easily, I think, I mean, if they were really cheeky, they should have put in affiliate links to market news and trades and help them reduce down their customer acquisition cost a bit.
It would have been a classic marketer move. All right. That was really interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed these videos with Dev Basu, founder of Powered by Search. I've really enjoyed doing them, and I'm going to do a bunch more of them. So if you want to be in on that, I definitely recommend pressing subscribe on the YouTube button below. But really, I want you to subscribe to the Positive Human newsletter, where I curate and share the best B2B SaaS resources every 2 weeks. They come with original comments, so you know it's not just links that I'm finding on the internet and saving into an Airtable somewhere. I'm actually writing this stuff, and hopefully it's valuable. So far, it's got a great open rate and a great click rate. I would love for you to subscribe to that, and you can do that at positivehuman.co. Positivehuman.co. All right, see you soon.